sun still out? Is it? Uh-huh. Just a little west, huh? We're waiting for Green Bay to show up in just a moment or two. A couple of things in case you haven't been here before. As a courtesy to our student athletes and coaches, will you please turn your phones off? When you ask your questions for the student athletes or the coach, would you please give your name and affiliation on the first question? After that, you don't need to do so, but it is very helpful if you do that. If you want the student athletes to answer the question, you want them both to answer, would you please identify which one you want to answer first? It's very helpful to do that. We'll take an opening statement from the coach, and then we'll take questions for our student athletes. We'll keep them up here about 5 minutes, and then we'll send them back to the locker room. If you choose to follow the student athletes or the coach at any time, you'll need to go out the back door. You cannot go out this door. Go out the back door and go to the locker room. The locker room will remain open until shortly after the news conference is over. If you want any one-on-one help for anything, Joey Daniels is the SID, and I believe that Joey can help you out with whatever you need. When you get the microphone to ask a question, please speak directly into the microphone. It makes it so much easier for our ASAP folks to transcribe what you're saying and get it correct. Thank you. We'll start as soon as they show up. By the way, did anybody lose something that looks like this? I don't even know what it is, but we found it. We found a phone yesterday, too, but it was returned. Okay, they're here. Do we have any stat sheets that... Can you bring me a couple real quick? Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's fine. Gentlemen, if you'll have a seat. Right there. Thank you, Coach. We're now joined by the Phoenix of Green Bay, Coach Link Darner and his two student athletes, Carrington Love and Jordan Faust. Coach, your thoughts about tonight's game?
Well, I think we played an outstanding team in Texas A&M. I think they're good enough to make a run at it, and I was telling their guys afterwards that, that they got a heck of a team. I thought the first 10 or 12 minutes before we got in foul trouble, I thought we caused them some problems. I thought we got them to turn the ball over. I think we turned them over 10 or 11 times the first 8 or 9 minutes of the game, and I thought when we got in foul trouble, we couldn't keep pressing them because we had to play rotations that we hadn't played much this year. I thought they made a run, and then the second half, they just got on a roll that we couldn't stop. I think their size, their length bothered us shooting the basketball, which I was worried about, and we had a tough time guarding them down low. I mean, they're huge down low compared to what we are, but I give these guys a lot of credit. Our two seniors, what an unbelievable job they did for us this year, getting Green Bay back to the NCAA tournament. And, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be sitting up here. And I'm just glad I had an opportunity to coach them for a year. I wish I had them for a couple more.
Okay, thank you. We'll take questions for our student athletes first. Again, your name and affiliation, and pass the microphone back. No questions for our student athletes? One on the outside right.
Greg Eklund for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, and this is for Jordan. Can you summarize their inside presence?
Like Coach said, they're a big team, and that's where they wanted to get the ball. You look at the stats; they had 46 points in the paint. I mean, there's almost no way that we could win with those numbers. But they're a big team, and that's what they knew that we were undersized, and that's what they did. They just pounded the ball inside, and we just had a tough time guarding them.
Got a question in the front center.
Kurt Voigt, Associated Press. Carrington, I know this is a tough way for it to end, but do you think when you look back on it, it'll take away at all from the excitement that you guys have felt during this run to make it here?
It's going to hurt for a little while, you know, realizing that we're done with our collegiate career. But, I mean, I love what this team has done for our program and the excitement it's brought back to Green Bay basketball. Like Coach said, we haven't been to an NCAA tournament in 20 years, and RP40, I think, will be on the map for years to come.
Additional questions for our student athletes? Okay, gentlemen, we're going to let you guys go back to the locker room. We're going to keep Coach for a few more minutes. Congratulations on a great season. Okay, questions for Coach. We'll start in the right corner all the way in the back.
Coach, you were about 20 points or so under your average today. How much of that was what you weren't doing, and how much of it was A&M's defense?
Well, I think a lot of it was their defense. You know, we had a tough time scoring against them. Even when we got steals and we got out in transition, we had a hard time scoring. And they're an outstanding team defensively, and that was one of my big worries coming in with this game was if we'd be able to score enough points to stay with them, you know, and we just weren't able to do that today. You know, we probably shot too many threes, but that's kind of what they make you shoot. And now all of a sudden we're shooting over 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" guys, and we don't, you know, you can't simulate that in practice for our guys. And that makes a big difference.
Questions for Coach. Question on the right.
Coach, Greg Eklund again from Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Tyler Davis for them. Does he play like a freshman?
I don't think so. This time of year, I don't know if anybody's a freshman, but he was a load down low. We knew they were going to look to pound it into their guys down low, and we talked about getting down there and digging it out and forcing him to throw it out. The only problem is he's really good at sealing you right at the basket. And he did a great job of that, and they did a great job of getting him the ball. You know, and you know, they're a lot bigger than us inside. They're a lot more physical than what we are inside, and we knew if it got inside, we were going to have trouble. And you know, like Jordan said, they got 46 points in the paint. And the other big thing that hurt us, too, is we got 14 steals, and we only got 16 points off turnovers. You know, we turned them over. You know, I don't think too many teams have turned them over like we were able to, but we just could not convert. And if we could convert, I think that would have helped us a little bit, would have put more pressure on them when we couldn't convert, and all of a sudden they can come down and run all their stuff. It's too hard for us to guard them.
Question on the front aisle.
Olin Buchanan, Texas. Coach, did you feel like you had them rattled in the first, opening minutes there?
I thought our pressure, like I said, I thought our pressure bothered them. You know, when they set ball screens for House, we trapped them. You know, we watched a lot of film. We didn't see anybody else do that. We were just going to do it on him. We thought it was very important to get the ball out of his hands. And I thought we got him to play a little bit faster than maybe what they wanted to, and we got him to turn it over. You know, I mean, the only problem is we turned them over early and we weren't scoring. You know, we needed to be up more than 4 or 5. I don't know what our biggest lead became, but, you know, it needed to be a bigger than what it was because we couldn't. I didn't know if we could continue to turn them over as much foul trouble as we were getting in.
Question on the outside right.
Coach, toward the end of the first half, they were going to the free throw line, but you weren't. Were you settling too much for the threes, you think?
Well, I think a little bit. I think it had a little bit to do with their size. I thought the second half we did a better job of attacking, which we've done all year. But, it's hard to get some good looks against them. They're so long and athletic and take up so much space. They can cover a lot more ground than what we can on the defensive end.
Further questions for the coach? Coach, congratulations on a great season.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. We're now joined by the Texas A&M Aggies, Billy Kennedy, the coach, and his student athletes, Danielle House and Tyler Davis. Coach, your thoughts about tonight's game?
Well, I thought once we settled down and played the way we're capable of playing and controlling the game a little bit offensively, we moved the ball and did a good job of taking care of the ball. And you got to give Green Bay credit. They play a different style, and it took us a while to adjust. But our leadership and our older guys really settled down, and I thought that was big.
Okay, we'll take questions starting in the middle on the front.
Kurt Voigt, Associated Press. Daniel, you know I have to ask it about the respect card. You played it yesterday a little bit. Do you feel like you earned a little bit back more tonight, and do you still feel like there's more respect to be earned going forward?
Still more respect to be earned. People was really upset about that, and I mean it really bothered us. But then at the same time, we knew we had to just stay together as a team, as a unit, and focus on the goal that we talked about.
Got a question in the right rear, and then we'll come up to the front.
Chip Howard, Sports Radio 1150. Danielle, would you talk about the early going when they were turning you over quite a bit, and what happened to kind of settle things down after that?
I think Coach Kennedy came and talked to me and told me to make the right read, that I should drag the ball into the middle of the court so I can see outlets.
Got a question on the aisle on the left.
Jason Kersey from the Oklahoman. Danielle and then Tyler. What did it mean to you guys when Kyle Dobbins got in the game there at the end and made his play? That seemed to really set you guys off.
It's fun every time Kyle gets a chance to play. I mean, because he's a walk-on, he's a selfless guy, he's a good teammate, and he'll do anything for any one of us. And just to see him get in the game and play the game that he loves so much and represent the university, it brings a big smile to all of our faces.
We have a question on the aisle on the right-hand side.
Richard Kroon, Bryan, College Station Eagle. Daniel, can you just talk about how it seems like your game's picked up with the more and more you try to drive the ball to the basket?
I think I'm taking what the defense giving me. Everyone probably quote me as a shooter, but probably feel like I can't drive the ball or deck the ball. So, I mean, I feel like they pressure a lot, so then I just make the right read and the right play.
Question here on the front right.
Yeah, Olin Buchanan, Tag Sags for either of y'all. The slow start, was that just opening game jitters? And was there ever, if you could tell us what maybe the emotion was like in the timeouts, what y'all were talking about?
The emotion was, it was running, especially mine. But, I had Daniel and Tony and, a lot of the older guys just tell me to stay poised and keep my head. Like Coach Kennedy said, we just had to slow the game down a little bit, and we did a great job of that.
Got a question on the aisle left.
To either one of you guys, can you just talk about how you guys were able to really slow down their two stars, or two guys who are all conference players, I guess Faust and Love?
I think it all starts with preparation, and something our coaches do a great job of, just getting us prepped all week with film and scouting reports, and then, us executing on the court, communicating, and just playing hard.
For both of you guys, how fun would it be to play Texas on Sunday?
We're not going to get into that. We're just going to sit back and watch the game and enjoy this.
We'll be prepared for whoever we got to play. Like Daniel said, we still got to watch the game first, and whoever we end up playing, we'll be well prepped for.
We got another question on the front. This is going to be the final question for our student athletes.
For either of you or both or whatever, was there? Have y'all been aware? I'm sure you're watching the tournament and some of the big upsets that occurred. Was there any talk about what has been happening in the tournament and any conversation about making sure y'all weren't on that list too.
I don't think it was any talk. We know you got to play hard for 40 minutes. So we just talked to each other and said that give it your all for one another for 40 minutes, and I think that's what we did.
Same thing Daniel said. Just got to play hard. Coaches do a great job just reminding us every day it's just another game, but the next game is the most important game.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to let you go back to the locker room. If you have any special requests, check with the SID Adam Quisenberry, and you guys go that way. If you want to follow the players, you have to go out the backside.
Good job.
We'll take questions for the coach. Start right up here in the front.
Yeah, Billy, same question I asked them earlier about getting Kyle Dobbins in a game in a moment like that. It seemed like a really big deal to everybody.
It is a big deal. He epitomizes what Texas A&M's all about, the 12th man and giving himself for the team and the values. He represents us the right way, and so these guys, you know, there's not a better, more favorite guy. I guess it may not be the right English. My wife and anyway, but he's a big key to our team. It's not, our team's got some great players and we got some great people, and he's a combination of both of that.
Got a question on the front, and then we'll go to the back.
Coach, I know you weren't as keen yesterday on the respect angle as Daniel was, but you know, do you feel like this is the kind of group that feeds off of that, or do they even need that to play as well as they did tonight? And did it help, do you think?
You know, I don't know. You know, our mentality, our mantra is pretty much the same. Just stay the course. You know, one game at a time, one day at a time. Pretty boring. Saw wood, and let's move on. And whatever motivates Daniel, if that motivates him, I'm all for it. You know, and there's some truth sometimes. I mean, we haven't been good at this level for a few years, and you know, so you know. We knew coming into the season we had a good team, good seniors, and in the publications there are people who don't recognize us, but we haven't done anything either. So, you know, but I can understand where he's coming from to some degree. But we've gotten pretty good attention the last couple of weeks.
Got a question on the left-hand side of the rear.
Coach, can you address how when the bench came in, it seemed like you guys started to play more at your pace and got the ball down to Tyler a little bit more?
Well, that's kind of been the case, you know, the last month or so. You know, sometimes putting another guy in, the ball moves a lot easier. You know, Jalen had 4 turnovers, I think, the first 7 minutes of the game, 2 fouls, was going kind of fast. And but you know, again, Wisconsin Green Bay does that to you. They took away our point guard a little bit. Anthony had a hard time getting the ball, so we had a different guy bringing the ball, trying to get us in offense. They trapped House in the beginning of the game. They did some different things than we're used to seeing at this stage, and that was a big part of it.
Got a question in the back rear.
Billy, it seems like when you guys switched to the zone, and then also they got in a little foul trouble and couldn't pressure as much, that things changed for you.
Tyler getting the ball and getting them big guy in foul trouble was a big deal because that kid's a good player. Kenneth Lowe, a big piece of their team. And then going zone. You know, I've watched a lot of film on them, and I thought that our zone, because it's bigger, you know, than most, could slow them down a little bit. We tried to go zone like the third possession of the game and press back the zone, but they got it out so quick they scored on us. But the zone was very effective, and watching them in their league in the conference tournament, nobody played them hardly any zone. So I thought, you know, that could help us, and fortunately it did.
Question on the right.
Coach, with the trials and tribulations you've had personally over the last 4 or 5 years, what's it mean to you to pick up a win tonight in the NCAA tournament?
Well, we got a good team. You know, we expected to come here and win games, you know, and we know how hard it is to win games in this tournament when you see the teams, West Virginia just getting beat, Stephen F. Austin. This tournament's about matchups, and, you know, anybody can beat anybody on a given night if the matchup's the right way. And we were fortunate. We played a Wisconsin Green Bay team that liked to get up and down the floor a little bit, and we were able to explore some opportunities, especially in the second half, you know, to break the game open. We expected to be here last year when we lost Louisiana Tech, and, you know, it's come full circle, you know, so now we got to continue to, you got to be good every day, every night, because one slip, you're out of here fast.
Question on the right.
Billy, I couldn't get your players to answer the question, but would you discuss the possibility of playing Texas and what that would mean as a spotlight to the entire state for basketball if you guys were to meet on Sunday evening?
Well, I think somebody kind of prepped them before they came in here, you know, in that situation. But, you know, Texas is a good program and a good team. Shaka Smart's done a heck of a job getting them back to the tournament. This team was in the tournament last year, so this is not a surprise by any means from my standpoint. But Northern Iowa is really good, you know, and this game will be a heck of a game. Whoever we play, we've got to be good. We know, because we played Texas a little bit, we know a little bit more about them. Our guys know their guys. So it'd be a little more interesting in the state of Texas. But as a coach, I'm just thankful to be playing the next game.
Got a question on the aisle.
Coach, you just talked about matchups. You got to feel pretty good about your team matching up with most other teams because of the diversity that you have and what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Troca Morales, I mean, he has been a big-time player for us. You know, when we've won big games, you go back and look at how he's played, you know, and he had 15-6. He handled 4 assists. He didn't turn it over. You know, Admond Gilder comes in, has 11 points. You know, DJ Hogue. Really, you know, Tavario Miller gave us some good minutes. So we've got some weapons that all of them, you know, helped us win, and we'll need them all to continue to win.
Anything else for Coach? Coach, congratulations on the win. We'll see you Sunday. Thank you.